Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, this is Geroenimo from Old Republic at War, and today I'm going to be talking about gameplay diversity, and I want to show you off two new units. First off, before we begin, I want to mention that I'm not native English, and therefore you'll have to forgive me if I hustle up some words sometimes. So let's begin about gameplay diversity. In the original game Empire at War, I don't think the game had much gameplay diversity to begin with. You generally had one type of cruiser, the Acclamator, and the rest that came after that were basically just upgrades. You have the Acclamator, you have the Victory Star Destroyer, and then the Imperial Star Destroyer. Basically, the latter versions of the Acclamator are just upgrades from the Acclamator. Don't have much difference, they're just straight up stronger. Also, you didn't have a lot of support units. Of course, you had the Marauder and the Broadside Cruiser for artillery, but other than that, you didn't have a lot of utility units. In this mod, I aim to change that, and I want to bring more gameplay diversity, make new units, new kinds of units, experiment a little with ranged fire, that kind of stuff, artillery. What I want to do more specifically is I want you to be able to build cruisers from all tiers rather than just the highest that you're currently at. Like as long as when you reach tier 5, then I don't want you to be only building tier 5, believing the rest is plain useless. I want you to be able to build other kinds of cruisers, frigates too. There are mods that have like 30 cruisers in them, which is a reasonable diversity, but then they're basically just all one type of cruiser, as I mentioned, the Acclamator, Victory, Imperial progression. It's just basically the same cruiser, but then just made a little stronger each time. And then of course with a different model and skin. What I aim to be doing is I want you to give you, instead of if you have three or let's say if you have 3 capital ships, then I don't want you to be able to build 3 of them, which are just basically upgrades of the previous one. I want you to be able to build 3 completely different capital ships which serve different roles and achieve the goal in different ways. How I want to be showing that to you today is I have built a few squadrons. These are 2 new units. The Republic Gunship and the Strike Drone Interceptor. Both are designed to counter the Sith swarm of Sith fighters, because later in the game the Sith will start spawning capital ships and those spawn swarms of Sith fighters. Eventually I figured the Aurak tactical strike fighter wasn't enough to deal with them, as strong as it might be, so I figured we'd need a better way to deal with them. So what I did is I built 2 units. They cost the same, they are the same effectiveness, but they do their job, anti-Sith fighter, in very different ways. Let's start off with the Republic Gunship. Note that my computer isn't very optimal for recording, so there might be some frame drops. Normally it doesn't lag for me, but hey, recording. Oh, don't want to headbutt them into corvettes. So basically the Republic Gunship is your general all-around heavy fighter. It has very high health. It is very heavily armed. It has 6 anti-fighter laser cannons. Very powerful. Can one-shot every single Sith fighter, except for the heavy bomber platform. It's not very agile. It's slow, and therefore you'll have to keep it a little bit behind. You don't want to engage Sith fighters in a dogfight, because they are agile enough to eventually outrun your gunships. But in larger groups they can absolutely mop the floor straight up with these. Of course, if they get overpowered, you have no way of running out or running away from a dogfight, so you'll have to rely on keeping them alive and out of big firefights. So this is just a sturdy, strong fighter. The next fighter is something completely different. The Strike Interceptor drone is pretty much the complete opposite. It is a very, very strong fighter. It's very, very fast. It doesn't have a lot of health. It is extremely, it is very agile. Let's talk about the armament a bit. It has 2 long-range laser cannons under the hull, and 2 heavy repeating laser cannons on the side of the ship. Isn't that a little overpowered? No. As I said, they are extremely fast, and they're also very slow to get to maximum speed, but that's for balance reasons. Note that this is all done in normal gameplay speed. These are designed for very, very quick hit and run tactics. You cannot use these in a dogfight because they're not agile enough to actually turn around to get into the dogfight. But they're designed to speed right by Sith fighters. As you can see, they are very fast. Quick hit and run tactics. You can move these into a swarm of Sith fighters and they will completely wreck everything. Sith fighters are basically free, so you don't have to worry that this might be a little overpowered. As you can see, this and the Republic Gunship are 2 completely different unit types, but they are basically filling the same role, anti-fighter and bomber, but they're both completely different. You can use these fighters for recon too. Note that maybe not all the Sith fighters are destroyed here, but all of them are either heavily damaged or dead. So, by the way, strike drone created by me, modeled by me, skinned by me, rigged by me, all that good stuff. Also, you don't want to be headbutting them into corvettes, because I don't care how many you have, you're not going to be able to take down a corvette with these. So once they're up to speed, you can start wrecking Sith fighters. They're not as durable as the Republic gunships. In fact, they're not nearly as durable as the Republic gunship, but that's the trade-off for the speed. These are used for hit and run missions. These are used for straight up battles. This is just one example of the gameplay diversity that I want to bring, and I want to bring you different unit types, different roles, achieving their goals in completely different purposes. No way, that didn't make sense, lol. Yeah, that's basically everything. Several cruiser variants, several fighter variants, artillery, close range support, shield ships to shield off your fleet. I'm actually working on that. Ships that actually project a shield in front of your fleet to protect them from enemy fire. That kind of stuff. Just overall different unit types with different roles. So yeah, that's all. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.